back, everybody, to our Track Soulful Love group coaching call for the month of April. It's the 12th day of April 2025, and before the break I gave you the philosophy that we're working with, the importance of going through a transformation, the transformation from a child with God to an adult with God, a child with yourself to an adult with yourself, learning to actually become aware of God so that you can trust in God, being trusting of yourself to do the right thing for you, growing yourself up to be a self-benefiting person, being interested in your life, and supporting a life that is satisfying and feels good, from this peace consciousness, this progress consciousness where you benefit your mind, your body, your emotions, your spirit, your life. You having this personal satisfaction in life, you are participating, you have the power to do that. I know that the tribe, we never saw other people do this, live progressively with God, with self, with body, with life, with mind, with spirit. We've never seen people live like this, but we can. And we can also not only pursue satisfaction in life that is work-related satisfaction and have social relations, work relations, but we can have spousal relations and have our spousal needs met, our spousal desires met and fulfilled, our spousal preferences satisfied. We can live spousally satisfied. It's very important, for a human being to live naturally, and spousal satisfaction assists and supports natural living in terms of companionship and so on and so forth in life, with our variety of different needs, desires and preferences, to be a team, to connect, to live together, to dwell in harmony, and so on. So we spoke about the philosophy, we spoke about the transition in society. Women especially are going through this change. And then we spoke about what we're doing here together. We're here in an incubating system where I believe in you, and more than you might actually believe in you, more than anybody believed in you, and your ability to live as a believer and live as an adult and live as a receiver, that there is for you, through my own learning, growth and development and supporting others, that we can all move towards security, selffulness and satisfaction. We can all experience a spiritual joy. We can all experience joyful expression, enjoyable application. We can all have enjoyment in life, natural good feelings, feeling good, living a satisfied life. We can. I believe in that. And so this is where we have a partnership here. This is where I share with you as I'm learning, growing and developing, and you are invited to share your learning, growth and development. This is where we can see where we are in error and make correction. We can see where we are in error and make correction. And we can do that. We can see where there is spiritual development required and support that. We can see where there is personal development required and support that. We can see where there is development in terms of our lifestyle and support a higher quality of lifestyle. We can then see where higher quality of work contribution we can make, receive money, people, things and experiences, social support networks. We can become higher value people to ourselves and to others. We can have higher value people, things in our life. We can develop this peace, power, prosperity consciousness. We can address the blocks that are there, the baggage that holds us back, the barriers that keeps us from moving forward. We can support from that mild level of security. All you need is a mild level of security to be caring to yourself, your mind, your body. If you mildly secure, you can be selfful. You can play a caring role in your life, and you can play a caring role in your life. You can play a more caring role in your life where you can have others care. You can have somebody that's considerate, caringly supportive. You can have somebody who can share with you what they have. You can choose people that suit you. A lot of women don't know what they deem caring in a relationship until they end up experiencing feeling uncared for. It is their own failure to care for themselves, the failure to anticipate what's important to them, that ends up in them being in problematic situations. And so then we moved on to looking at what holds women back in this transition that's happening in society, and the challenge that it is to step into the unknown, to move in, to become an unrecognizable version of you, to live into an unimaginable vision of your life. I gave you an analogy of imagine a city where a woman went allowed to drive, and they never knew other women who didn't know, they didn't know anyone who knew how to drive. How they would not take an opportunity like this. And so we went on to speak about the opportunity that's available here for women like you who are willing to support your own learning, growth and development, support the evolution of women in the tribes that you come from. There is that opportunity for you if you choose it. But it is work. You can live beyond your mother's levels and granny's levels of satisfaction, and you can be more evolved mothers to your children in support of women's evolution through life. That's the opportunity that's available here. And I was saying to you that prior to coming here, you were unconscious. You didn't know you had the ability to get yourself married. You didn't know that you were letting yourself down. You didn't know that you could keep yourself unmarried and enter into the never married category of women. You didn't know that you were marrying incorrectly. You didn't know that you had the power to get yourself soulfully married and to enjoy a lifetime of spousal satisfaction. You didn't know because you weren't self-attending and you weren't life-tending. So how can you have a man who's self-attending to you, who's attending to you? And how could you have a man who's adding to your married life? If you don't attend to you, how are you going to have a man who attends to you? If you don't attend to your life, how are you going to have a man who attends to your life? If you are just living unconsciously, groomed to be a good girl to please a man and in-laws, or if you just growing up thinking you're just going to get a man to look after you as long as he can foot the bills and pay everything, then you are actually going to be keeping yourself from spousal satisfaction. That's what we said, that a lot of women get involved in relationships and then they complain and they feel like victims. You don't want to end up a victim. You don't want to fail to recognize your power, not use your power, and act like a victim that somebody is doing something to you. You have the opportunity here to know what you want. You can focus on your future self spousal satisfaction. You can know what caring is for you. Don't wait to marry the wrong person and then figure out what you feel uncared for and then try to fix that man. That's not the right man. It is your responsibility as a woman who's focused on your personal satisfaction to focus on your spousal satisfaction. It is your responsibility to attend to yourself today, but also attend to your future spousal self of, the future. That's what I call future spousal self attending. It's your responsibility. You got to anticipate that. Women have just been waiting and hoping and wishing and seeing what happens, and as long as I don't feel bad and mustn't feel too bad. But this is the time of good feeling with God, spiritual peace and security, good feeling with yourself, good feeling with your body, good feeling with your mind. My mind feels good, my body feels good, my heart feels good, my inner child feels good, my future self feels good. And you can get into a relationship, you can attract a spouse who's suitable for you that you can feel good with. But you must know what it is that feels good to you. This is why it's so important to get in touch with your true self. If you don't get in touch with your true self, you can't be intrinsically motivated. If you're not interested in you and how you feel, if you're not interested in what is of value to you, then you cannot attract to you your ideally suitable spouse. This is why we say, be broke but not poor. You can be without money, but don't be poor. Be broke. You can be without a man, but don't be broke. But don't be poor. Be broke. Meaning that I'm not needing that man. I'm not needing that money. I'm okay without that money. I'm okay without that man. God is caring for me. I'm caring for me. I want to have that money. I want to have that partner to add to my joy, my enjoyment of life. I'm without money, without a job, without a man, without a spouse. I am okay. And I feel good with God. I feel good with myself. I know how to enjoy myself without money, without a man. I know how to enjoy my life. I'm somebody who I can trust with myself, my body, my life. I'm reliable, self-reliable. I'm self-reliant. And as that person who's maritally broke or financially broke, you're not poor. And that's when you can be inspired. From feeling joy, you can have enjoyment in your life. From feeling good, you can have somebody, from feeling secure and experiencing joy, you can have somebody support you in satisfaction, further satisfaction. So this is what we are talking about. That you as an adult woman taking responsibility for the future life that you want to live as a spouse, future spouse, and the marital experience you want is extremely important. If you begin to focus on that, inspired and enthused by what can be in the future, you can develop a prosperity consciousness where you can attract high value people, things. You've got to be a person who knows what to value without making it valuable. You can value money without making money valuable. God alone is absolutely valuable. He gave you value. You have been given innate value. You've been given the ability to value. You know there's experiences you can value. There's people you can value. There's things you can value. You have to know what you value. No point being a woman who doesn't let people care for you. Choose a man who doesn't care for you and then try to make him be a man who cares. No point you not knowing what's important to you, then choose a man who's not serving what's important to you and then make your own and his life a misery. If you want a man of much means, then choose a man of much means. Don't choose a man who has limited means and then complain. You get what I mean? It's about you and about your experience of marriage. It's got nothing to do with the man. You've got to focus on you and your marriage. So before the break, I asked you to consider, what type of marriage would you prefer? At some time in the future, when you do marry, what type of marriage would you prefer? Some of us have an experience of marriages in the past. Maybe we married once or twice. Maybe a partner passed on. Maybe our partner divorced us, whatever it is. Maybe we divorced our partner. But if you had to have a spousal relationship, if you had to be in a connection experience, if you had a partner in your life who was sharing your life with you, what kind of marriage, what type of marriage would you want? Are you aware what kind of marriage you want? I didn't say what kind of marriage you don't want. Are you aware of what would be the type of marriage you want? So let's have some response. Can somebody share with me? Sharing. If you were to be in a relationship in the future, what type of relationship would you want it to be compared to the kind of relationship you had in the past, compared to a relationship you might have now? What kind of relationship would you want in the future? If you had Aladdin's lamp, Aladdin's lamp, and if you had a genie, a jinn, could answer your, whatever. What, Solomon, he had those jinns with him and all that, what would you want?
Can I share?
So the answer is, you want a relationship that feels good. Understand? You want a relationship that feels good. It feels good. And so what would feel good to you is you describing the features that would serve the essence of feeling good. You know, what you're telling me is you want ease, you want to be you want to be valued for who you are, you want to be allowed, you want to be appreciated, you want to be with a man who's available, you want to be with a man who is unconventional, you want to be with a man who's a free thinker, because all that is going to serve you in feeling good. You see, so when you allow yourself to feel good, see, you're allowing yourself to feel good, you support yourself in feeling good, then you can have somebody else in serving you and supporting you in feeling good. You want an enjoyable marriage. That's what you want. Now, women for generations gone by, they had no clue there's a thing called an enjoyable marriage. You want an enjoyable marriage. This is something, if you said to your granny or great granny, they would say shaitan. You understand? This is shaitan has taken you. You're gone. They were so far away from joy, joyfulness, enjoyment, satisfaction. You see, they couldn't grasp what you're saying. So you are saying something that is completely new. You understand? Which I understand, and I know it's possible for you. I believe in you. I believe that this is possible for you. Nobody told you that you can have this. Nobody encouraged you to have this. You get what I mean? You have been in a space where somebody is telling you it's possible. It's possible. You can have it. God will answer your prayer. There's a way to get this. You can have what you want. It's yours. Go and claim it. Receive it. You get what I mean? So, not only am I saying to you, you can get yourself soulfully married and you can experience being cared for and considered and supported and cared for the way you want. I'm boosting, like what you're saying that you're connecting with from your true self. I'm encouraging that. So some of you, when you're growing up, you might have not been encouraged, generally speaking, that you can enjoy yourself, you can enjoy your life, you can enjoy your marriage. Or if you spoke about enjoying yourself and enjoying your marriage, that would be like taboo. Are you mad? Somebody will divorce you. Don't talk like that. So it's important to see, to what degree you can answer that question. To what degree you are allowing of yourself. Allowing of yourself. This is why what we've been speaking about last month has been about will you allow yourself to feel good? Do you support yourself feeling good? Will you allow and support yourself feel good? Would you allow yourself to experience joy, joyfulness, enjoyment? Would you allow yourself to express yourself, apply yourself, like we heard from our sister before the break, not in that tribal, how should I be, I'm scared for disapproval. What if I am, they not accepted, I'm scared I won't be accepted, I'm afraid to disappoint people. If I be me, and if I enjoy myself, who's going to be disappointed with me? I don't want somebody to be if I am happy. So how many of us, when we are growing up, we were told, the natural state in life is feeling good. And feeling good naturally. And living your life from ease, doing what you're happy to do, that you freely want to do, that benefits you, that you're supporting a balanced life. How are you feeling? Do you enjoy life? We're here for you. What do you want? Did they support you when you were growing up in allowing you to be self-determined? What do you want? How do you feel? Did people ask you how you feel? Did people say it's normal to feel good? Did people encourage you to have desires, to dream, to play? See, if you haven't had parental relationships that were supportive, enjoyable, encouraging, if you never had fun with your parents, if you did not play as a child, if you did not play with your parents, if your parents did not play and did not have fun with themselves, with each other, the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, had fun with his wives, They used to play and have fun. They used to wrestle with his friends and play, race and, chase each other, and there's a joy and fun. So if you growing up, your parents were not allowing of you, and they were not encouraging of you, and they didn't ask you how you felt, they didn't encourage you to feel better, they didn't say you can have what you want, be yourself, they didn't say, you're good. If you, when you were growing up, you weren't resourced by your parents, you understand? If they weren't there and being with you and boosting you, if your parents were overly controlling, critical, always finding fault with you, if they were rejecting, if you lived in fear, if they were threatened by your freedom, if they wanted to control you or rather needed to control you, if they felt that you needed to be controlled, they sent you to places where to be brainwashed and controlled, they're scared of you being you. This is what has happened in the tribe with previous generations, especially with women. Parents have been afraid of their daughters living and being alive. You want to live, get married and live. You won't live under my roof. You understand? You're not free here. When you get married, you'll be free. So these are the kind of messages women have gotten. Now the fact that you are answering the way you are answering is really remarkable. It means you're connected with your true self. It means you're allowing of yourself. Whether you have integrity to follow through, left to be seen. Whether you will support it come to fruition is very likely. But you're connected with your true self. You are comfortable to be happy and disappoint your parents. Now, I'm not against parents, right? Don't feel. I'm like, where parents have not allowed you and supported you in living a satisfying life, an enjoyable life, where parents didn't let you know you're free to apply yourself, you're free to care for yourself, you're free to attract into your life, you're free to make dua, you're free to have life, you're free. You're created to depend on God, you're free. You can care. If parents weren't there in support of you enjoying yourself, you could be afraid to enjoy yourself in front of your parents. If any of you are afraid to enjoy yourself in front of your parents, it's an indication that you have been disallowed. And it is very likely you're going to have a partner in your life that's going to disallow you. If you've been disallowed by your parents and you haven't had this development that we are talking about here, if you haven't learned to establish a relationship of self-allowing, being disallowed by your parents because of their own cultural views and norms and all that sort of thing, you are likely to have a man who's going to replay. If they were critical, unavailable, rejecting and all that, if they didn't know you, you're going to have that man. Generally speaking, it is very likely that you can have a man like that in your life. People usually, if they don't work through their parental issues, their relationship with the opposite sex parent, women with their fathers and men with their mothers, if they don't work through these relationships and see like where there was disallowance or where there was over mollycoddling, overdoing it, smothering and all, where there was neglect or too less allowance or too much indulgence, where there was no proper reasonable limits set and healthy limits set, where there was, I'm not there for you, you're on your own, or I'm there for you, let me do everything. This kind of relationship, if you don't address it, and you don't come to being an adult with yourself, allowing yourself to feel good and support you progress in life, then you're going to have a man or a woman that's going to replay these patterns with you unconsciously. So the fact that you're tapping into your true self and you're saying, this is what I want a pleasurable experience. Now the question is, when you were growing up, were you allowed to have pleasurable experiences? What did you believe? Enjoyable, pleasurable, satisfying. How do you feel with pleasure? How do you feel with pleasing, being pleased? So this is the answer, right? The right answer. What type of marriage do you want? If you don't give me an answer that suggests to me that you want a pleasing, supportive, enjoyable relationship, you understand? And things like, I want to be allowed to be me, and I want to live my life. I don't want to give up my life for somebody else. Now imagine your children are grown up, you got a life to live, you still got you're youngish, and you got life, you got every opportunity, you're not terminally ill, diagnosed, nothing. You got life ahead of you. And you marry a man, and he's a repeat of a man in your life like your father, you know what I mean? And you're like back to square one. Or he wants you to be his mother, and you must look after him and his children. You get what I mean? You are allowed to focus on the marriage that you want, and what it suits you in, and what it serves you in. What to you is enjoyable. Now, if you don't know what to you is enjoyable in a relationship, if you don't know who you are, what you are about, what your life is, and you want to continue for you, your personal satisfaction, and a man is there to support it. Because a lot of women who haven't developed themselves into an authority, like you are now becoming an authority in your life, you're becoming an adult. A lot of women who don't stand in the authority, I'm happy with God, I'm happy with me, and I'm happy that God gave me the options of what kind of marriage I want, and there's different types of men in the world, and the type of men I want, or the type of man I want, is the man who will value me. See? The man who will be, pleased with me, the way I am. Not that I have to be another way to please him. The way I am, the way I live, he's allowing, he's supportive, he's encouraging of me to live my life. Now, not all women are authorities like that. A lot of women are like, I'll lose myself in a man. I'll lose myself in a marriage. See? A lot of women, they don't want to be the adult woman that they are in their authority and have the marriage that they want. They don't want to call the shots in terms of, not in the marriage, but in terms of what kind of marriage do they want. They don't want to be self-determined. A lot of women are not self-determined because when they were growing up, they weren't allowed to be self-determined. They weren't allowed to choose what they wanted. They didn't feel free. They felt, no, my parents are controlling me. Only when I get married, then my husband will control me, then my in-laws will control me. That's my life. So a lot of women are not self-determined, and they haven't been allowed. So this is why you have to move into self-determination, which is what you're moving into. What do you want for you? You have to think for you. It's your responsibility. What is it, the experience you want to have? As a married woman, what would please you? What kind of marriage you want? Now, that's a marriage in which you are present. You are there. And what you are about, and your joy and your enjoyment, your life outside of the marriage. There's a you outside of the marriage, and that you outside the marriage is integrated into that marriage. You get what I mean? Now, a lot of women are not in that strength. They lose themselves in marriages. I want to be Mrs. So-and-so. I want to be a mother. They want like approval. They want to be like, I'm needed by another person. I'm taking care of somebody. That can either be willingly, I want to look after somebody, or unwillingly, somebody says, well, you're here now, you have to look after me, you please me. So a lot of women don't have self-determination. They didn't see their mothers take responsibility for their joy and enjoyment and for the quality of life. They haven't been given that permission by their fathers and mothers. The gurus and the pandits in the tribe haven't told them about this, that in Islamic teaching, a woman is self-determined. She can dictate a contract, and the man can decide whether he wants the contract or not. She is self-determined. She can choose. You ask her 3 times if she wants to marry the guy. There's no forcing a woman to get married, and a woman is not forced to do anything. If I tell you about women in Islam, you know what I mean, their own money is their own money. They don't have to give their husbands money, but the husbands are to look after them financially. That is their right. They can waive that right, but that is their right. And they have to have their own space, privacy, where their mother-in-laws can't go, where their husbands can't go, their private space. they're given that personhood. You get what I mean? That personalhood. And if they have children, they don't even have to suckle, breastfeed those babies. They can have a wet nurse. They don't even have to cook for their husbands. If you tell your mothers and grannies who claim to be Muslims about this is the rights of women in Islam, they'll say, hey, what's this? That's not Islam that we know, because they know Islamism from India. So this is what I'm talking to you about, that you are self-determined enough, which is what is required. I don't know how you came to give yourself this permission to speak like that, or maybe somehow you just connected with your true self that nobody can break you, or you're strong, but maybe you never had support. Maybe you felt this is you're doing something wrong and bad. Maybe you felt people don't approve of me. But here you get the space to say, look, it's very normal what you're saying. It's actually very natural. This is good for you. You get the support for that, where you can say, yes, so I'm an authority in my life. I don't want to lose myself in a marriage and be somebody's mother. I don't want somebody to be my father. I don't want to find myself in a marriage. I already am myself. I want a marriage to complement me and add to my personal satisfaction. I am very happy. With a marriage, I am happier. And so the type of marriage that what I'm suggesting that you focus on is a marriage that is pleasing, enjoyable, a marriage in which you are supported in being happier. You are happy now without marriage. And the marriage is to serve you in greater satisfaction, greater happiness. Marriage is not to make you happy or serve you in happiness. You, with your relationship with God, yourself, your life, your social support networks, you're already happy. But the marriage is for happiness. You become happier. So what is it about a marriage that's going to make you happier? You understand? That's the answer that we are saying here. Can you answer that I'm happy now without a marriage? I don't want a marriage to take away from the current happiness. These are things I'm happy about in my life. Like you said, children are grown up. I'm done with that now. I'm not sure if you want more children or whatever it is. Maybe you don't want, you're done with that. You say that's that. Maybe you want more children. I don't know. You have to figure that one out yourself. But I'm happy. Now, if I'm creating my marriage, it's going to serve me in happiness. See, you got to have that kind of focus, that it inspires me, it enthuses me. What satisfaction that I get to be with a spouse that doesn't take away from my current level of satisfaction. What is my current level of satisfaction that I'm really happy about, that I can bank and have more satisfaction come in? Now, a lot of women are like, we're waiting, we're needy. You know what I mean? Oh no, we're needy. We need to get married. We need to get married because we're not happy. And we need to get married. We're not happy. No. You already, with God, with yourself, with your life, with your social, you got a life you're living. You got dreams. You got aspirations. You're a person on your own. Who is that person? There is a person. That's who you really are. Are you there? Are you enjoying your life without a partner? You must get to that point of enjoying your life without a partner, so that with a partner, your life becomes more enjoyable. So you're on the right track. Your answer is on the right track. You are getting clear that I want to move from personal satisfaction into spousal satisfaction, keeping the happiness that I have now and having more happiness that is happiness. And that's how you got to work this thing. You got to be able to say, okay, I don't want to find myself in a relation. I don't want the man to say, oh, you're so special. I already know God created us all worthy. I'm already happy. I'm not looking to a man to be my God. I'm not looking to a man to, be me. I know God respects me. I respect me. I have a relationship with me. God has a relationship with me. I'm not looking for a man to have a relationship with me that is a replacement of God's relationship. God loves me. I am on the path with Him. He's pleased with me. I'm on the way. I am pleased with me. I am applying myself in a way that benefits me. I I can trust myself to do what's good for me, what benefits me. I have a sense of definition, right? Self-definition. I exist because of God. He gave me life. I have a sense of self. I am a person before I get married. Not when I get married, I'm going to be Mrs. So-and-so, I'm going to be somebody then. So some women are trying to find themselves in a marriage. Other women are trying to lose themselves in a marriage. If you have your true self, and you know who you are, and you are happy, and you are pleased, and you know what's going good about your life, and you're realizing what you can add to your life, what having a man as a spouse in your life, you want them for, what are they there for? What are husbands and wives for? What are spouses for? Happiness, not happiness, not security, happiness. That with them, what is the experience I'm having? I'm enjoying being with them. It's enjoyable. See, I feel cared for. What are the features of that? What are the features of the man? What is it that you know? So here, before there's any man in sight, you start creating your compelling vision. Right? So I want to thank you for your sharing, because it shows us the importance of self-determination, self-definition, and looking and seeing, were you allowed to be happy when you were growing up? Did your parents let you be happy? Can you be happy? I can sing and dance in front of my mother. I couldn't always do that, but I can do that now. I can express great joy in front of my mother. My father was around too. I would do that too. With my uncles and aunties, I'm just there doing my thing. You know what I mean? Party for one, wherever I am. Because if I can do it in front of God, who are these people? You understand? If I can party for one, God is there. Who are other people in my life? So I'm allowing of myself to feel good with God, to feel good with myself, to feel good with my life, to allow myself and my life to progress. I'm allowing myself to feel better, my life to get better. More ease, more joy, more enjoyment. And I want a spouse to experience spousal satisfaction with. Now, spousal satisfaction is different for everybody. You have to figure out your future spousal self thoroughly grateful and satisfied. What is it enjoying, this future spousal self? What is it pleased about? What is it, this person who's with you? What do you admire? All that sort of thing. You got to do that kind of work now. Instead of saying, hey, I'm not married, I'm desperate, I need to get married. Where's he? I'm waiting and I'm I'm wanting and I'm waiting. You stay unmarried forever. You understand? Because you are not doing the methodology. So we're going to speak about the methodology now. Right? But you got to be self-determined. You got to be self-determined. So if I haven't said it before, let me say it again. I am promising you that if you are at least mildly secure, I'm not even asking you to be majorly secure. I'm not asking you to be the biggest believer that ever lived. I'm asking if you can every day remind yourself that God has given you and every other human being what you can't give you and no human being can give you. That God is unique in His giving to you, and He gave you the ability to give to yourself, and He gave you the ability to give yourself other people, and He gave other people the ability to give to you. God is the giver. You understand? Not a husband, not a wife, not you, not me, not anybody, not a parent. God is the unique giver. There is no other power, and you already have that love. And you have that. If you are prepared to stop thinking that you have to give yourself, others have to give you, you have to give others. If you stop this, I need to take care of myself, I need to take care of others, others need to take care of me. If you stop thinking money has power, work has power, if you go beyond the addiction, the compulsion, the obsession, if you stop denying God and you start realizing I'm a creation of God in the care of God. What He's doing for me, I can't do for me. What He's doing for me, others can't do for me. What He's doing for others and me, I can't do for them. They can't do for themselves. If you have that sense of, right now the earth is spinning, right now whatever we require is already given, whatever we desire is available in the world, nothing is missing, nothing is lacking. Right now I'm a favorite creation in the care of God. If you're prepared to actually release all your denial of God, the denial of the favors of God, if you're prepared to see that you're a human being and you have been given and what you've been given, if you're prepared to see the power that has created you and created you favored and has created you the highest life, that you have a you, there's a body, there's a life, you have a mind, this is because of a God loving you, and what God has given you, nobody can give you. If you have the slightest way of feeling ease like that, if you're really prepared to say, thank you God, I could not give me, my body, my life, I didn't exist, you know what's best for me, you've given me my mind, my body, even when we went astray, you gave us guidance, even guidance. Whatever we need, we already have. If you let go of the belief in need, if you stop acting needy, and stop acting needy on God, right? That neediness, as long as you let go neediness and you realize we have God, God is hearing us, God is available to hear us and respond to us, He's near, God protects us, progress. If you realize, if you're a real believer that you have confidence in God, a lot of people are religious, they have no clue about God and they don't have confidence in God's ability and power. The Quran tells us that the heavens and earth were created that we may become aware of the power of God. A real believer is aware that there is God, all-powerful, sufficient for us. We release into His care. You've got to have that release, that I depend not on me, on anybody, or not on any created thing. I depend on the one who created me. If you have the slightest inclination to stop taking authorities from the created world or projecting power, and you say Tawheed, there is only God, the loving, we are the love creation of God, guided and favored, innumerable favors. Right now, I'm okay. I don't need anything. I don't need to do anything. Right now, I'm supported in being. I'm supported in continuing to be. I'm supported in being a human being. Right here, I am at ease. I am free. Nothing is needed of me to cause me to be, to cause me to continue to be, to cause me to be favored. Nothing is needed from another human being to cause me to be, to cause me to continue to be, to cause me to be favored. Right here, right now, I have God. If you are prepared every day to submit before your Creator, not in a religious, tribal way, in an actual way, if you are prepared to have an actual experience of security, release the belief in neediness. If you're prepared to stop feeling unworthy and shameful and all that sort of thing, I'm bad, I need to be good, people must like me. If you understand that God created you, and He created you worthy, and you already have value, we are the highest life form on earth. If you have not only God esteem, but if you begin to have some human esteem, if you start feeling good that all human beings are created honorable, we are Ashraful Makhlukat according to the Islamic teaching, the most noble of creation. The angels had to bow. If you start having some awareness of God and His greatness and the favor given to you, and you start feeling good about yourself as a human being, we are created valuable, created the highest life form. Whether you act like it or not, you still are the highest life form on earth. You're just worshipping Satan. That's another story. If you have this level of security within you, you feel worthy, you don't feel second class, you know of your own value, you're aware that God wants ease for you, you're aware that He created you and He blessed you, that you may be grateful, He's needing nothing from you, and He wants you to come back to His awareness, come back to feeling good, and He wants you to live with Iman in your heart, what I'm talking about. He wants you to have some self-esteem, self-confidence. He wants you to live in a way that benefits you. If you prepared, if you have a mildest form of, security, and if you have the mildest form of selffulness, if you really are interested in you and how you feel, if you really care for your mind and educate your mind like you're doing here, if you care for how you feel and you attend to how you feel, if you address the child in you that has been wounded and carrying all this kind of shame and guilt and neediness and all that sort of thing, this wounding, this sometimes religious abuse and all that sort of thing, if you address all that, if you are interested in your body and valuing you, valuing your body, valuing your mind, valuing your reason, if you behave in the mildest way as an adult who's playing a positive, beneficial role in your life, you understand? If you're doing that, I was saying, if you are prepared to look at the blocks and barriers that keep you from security and address that. If you are prepared to look at the blocks and barriers that keep you from living as an adult, and you start living as an adult with God and living as an adult with you start playing a positive, beneficial role in your life. The mildest. If you are interested in your life and having a life that feels good, a tayyib life, a satisfying life, if you want to live a natural life with your needs, desires and preferences fulfilled, if you don't want to live perverted, deprived, dissatisfied, if you're interested in your life, if you're interested in Iman to the mildest, Amal to the mildest, a tayyib life to the mildest levels, I can tell you, if you are interested in your spiritual connection to the mildest level, your personal power to the mildest level, your lifestyle, and you're interested in being progressive and playing a positive, you value your life, and you want what God has given you in your life, the potentials and possibilities. And if you have social supportive structures, you have people in your life that benefit you, you eliminate or reduce time with people who let you down or are no good for you or they don't want to have a better quality of life. If you start having better support structures in your life, if you can receive friends and support people in your life, then you can definitely receive a man who's supportive of you. Because that's what we're saying, right? The question was, what kind of marriage do you want? Enjoyable, supportive, beneficial, right? That's what I'm suggesting to you, that the woman of generations gone by had no clue of, that it can be done today. And some of you who are not controlled by the tribe and fitting in and belonging to others, you can hear this teaching. It doesn't scare you. You're not afraid of not belonging to people. You belong to God. You are prepared to outgrow the people of the past. You're prepared to live with hygiene, spiritual, mental, emotional, physical, lifestyle hygiene. You're prepared to have good feeling from God, yourself, your mind, your body, your emotion, your child self, your future self, people in your life. Good feeling. You're open to good feeling. If you can do that, if you are really beneficial to yourself and supportive of yourself, and you can attract to you friends and people and that are supportive and beneficial to you, if you can outgrow the tribe where you came from, then you can most definitely attract into your life a spouse who is beneficial to you, supportive of you, enjoyable to be with. I'm giving you that guarantee. The mildest level. So if you look at what are your blocks to security and you address it, where you're carrying on needily, co-needily, anti-needily, and you begin to address it, where you're feeling unworthy, second-hand citizen, thinking you're shameful, you're not good enough, where you are thinking that, you're useless and hopeless, you can't do anything, and you're not really living self-beneficially, and you're prepared to live, and you're looking at your life like a victim, things are not working out for me, but you're not looking at what role you're playing in your life. How you're letting yourself down with God, how you're letting yourself down with yourself, your mind, how you letting your mind down, how you letting your emotions down, how you letting your body down, how you letting your life down. You know what I mean? How you're letting your spirit, if you're not prepared to see what you're doing and stop doing that, make that correction, if you're not prepared to see what kind of friendships and relationships you have that you're letting yourself down, if you're prepared to see where you're letting yourself down and make that correction, I assure you, you won't let yourself down as a woman in marriage. But if you let yourself down in all those other connections and relationships, if you don't trust God, you don't trust yourself, you don't trust life, you don't trust the right people, you won't be able to trust a person in your life. But if you come right and you, in personal satisfaction, if you're happy, you can have happiness. So we've been looking at some blocks and barriers, right? We've been looking at some blocks and barriers. I just want to speak a little bit, not on major. So with the proper breakthrough from insecure to secure, self-abandoning to self-attending, from life-depriving to life-tending, from poor and weak social connections to strong and powerful social connections, there's ways in which you've been doing this. And largely it is out of neediness, co-neediness, anti-neediness. Largely it's you don't feel good about yourself. Largely you don't respect yourself. Largely you weren't respected as a child growing up. You don't know how to respect yourself. You weren't cared for. You weren't encouraged. You don't know how to do that. You couldn't speak to your parents. They didn't hear you. They didn't allow you to speak. Children should be seen, not heard. You can't speak today. Growing up, you can't represent yourself. Your parents' relationship didn't support you in growing up to be a healthy adult in your life. There's no shame there. They didn't know better. It's fine. But you can address this. This is where you can learn to stop feeling guilty, shameful, stop sacrificing yourself, stop being this people pleaser, stop putting others before you. You can stop being a caretaker, a martyr. You can stop thinking that other people and their lives, you can stop putting others before you. You can see this shame, this unworthiness. You can see if you never had anybody telling you, they didn't resource you, that you know what, you're good, you're capable, you're able. You didn't feel good about yourself. They didn't teach you how to care for yourself. You didn't know how to care for yourself. So you're not caring for it, not because you're stupid. Maybe you got shame. Maybe you're putting others before you. Maybe you're not caring for yourself because you didn't learn. Nobody taught you. So certain skills are necessary. Certain awarenesses, certain releases, certain skills, certain capacities, certain practices. You get what I mean? You've got to practice submission. I teach you the 7 spiritual practices, how to practice those practices. These are things you can do. They are practices that you can have with God. Actual spiritual practices that benefit you with God. Not just rituals that you're just doing as a child thinking you fit in, you're right, you're doing something very good. But practices. Spiritual practices, the rituals are spiritual practices, but when you're doing them as children, you're not thinking, you're just doing it because you want to be good, you don't want to be bad, you want to fit in, you're scared to be bad, you feel you have to do these things, you're doing it compulsively. As an adult, you actually have spiritual practices. Your rituals are spiritual practices that benefit you. Then there are practices that you might not be doing that you can do with God. Then that's the TBR teaching. Then there are practices that you can do with yourself that you might not have these practices. Certain developmental practices you don't have. Certain, like for example, easing up, feeling good naturally, experiencing self-validation, looking at your strengths and your, and building on them, looking at your weaknesses and addressing them. When you were growing up, your parents might have not said, here's your strengths, you're so good at this, you might have not learned to validate yourself. They didn't ask you what you wanted. You weren't allowed to know what you wanted. You couldn't feel, you couldn't say what you wanted. You didn't know how to presence yourself. You weren't allowed to say to them no respectfully. They were invasive sometimes, or maybe neglectful other times. There's nobody there for you. You weren't there for you. But you've got to learn to be there for you. Presencing yourself is so important. Learning to, be a good friend to yourself. Learning to be a good parent to yourself. That's what we teach in other teachings. But these are things you've got to do. And we've had some great feedback, from students and... if anybody wants to give any of this feedback, they can give the feedback of what they've learned. So this is like a learning, growth, and developmental process. This isn't about, where's my man? This is about, have I developed myself with God that I have these spiritual practices? Have I developed with me, myself, my body, my life, that I have these practices? Do you have self-nurturing practices? Do you have practices that benefit you? Are you Do you have boundaries? Do you have limits? You know, do you have protective limits? Do you just rush out to be available to everybody whenever they want? Do you abandon yourself for others? Do you understand? Do you lose yourself in other people's lives? When you're with people, do you have protective limits? Do you have boundaries? Do you presence yourself? Do you let people know who you are, what you're about, what you like? Or are you invisible? These are developmental practices that show a change in you, show that you've grown. So if you have these intrapersonal skills with God, intrapersonal, skills and practices with God, if you have these practices and skills with yourself, of being with yourself, and you have interpersonal skills of being with others, you have skills of being with people, things and experiences, how you relate to money and so on and so forth. These are things that you got to show growth in. That I'm growing and I'm living happy. I'm doing the right thing for me. And I'm an adult. I'm happy. Are you adjusting your life, seeing how you are with people, seeing how you're letting yourself down? Are you making corrections? Are you there for you? Are you there for your mind, your body, your life, your future life, your past self, your afterlife self? Are you there for the life of the afterworld? Are you there? If you are like this, and there's changes in you in this teaching, if there has been this personal growth, that you have gone into a level of happiness with yourself, personal satisfaction, then we can look at you moving into spousal satisfaction. You got to be spousally fit. See, spousal fitness is very important. If you have a relationship with God, you won't overreact. You won't lose it. You won't become impatient. You'll be patient. You'll be able to deal with situations constructively. If you are insecure and you get married as an insecure woman, you'll be losing it left, right and center, blaming, shaming, nagging, or just sucking it in and feeling angry and irritated. But if you got your peace with God, there's no other peace with anybody or anything else. You know that you are His creation in His care. If you got that stability inside of you, you make a very suitable spouse. If you're a woman who's caring for you, you're thinking properly, you're feeling properly, you're living properly, you're acting properly, you're progressive, you're not harming yourself, your body, your mind, your life, you're not harming, you're not playing a destructive role in your life, you're a suitable spouse to you're a high value spouse. You get what I mean? If you are interested in how you handle money, if you're interested in how you handle money, and so on and so forth, if you're interested in all that, and you're handling your money well, you're looking after your time, your energy, your resources, you're responsible for your own good, you're not wasting time, energy, money, you're using it for the life of this world, for the life of the hereafter, you got purpose and meaning, you become a very high value spouse. If you know the skill of giving and receiving, if you can connect with God and you can connect with yourself, your body, your life, if you can value God, you can value you, your body, your mind, your life, if you can value areas of your life, experiences in your life, if you can value high value support systems and people in your life, if you can value like that, then you will have a man you can value too. If you don't know how to connect before getting married, you'll never marry connected. You get what I mean? If you don't know how to value and have connections before marriage, you will not have a marriage that is connection based. You must learn to give and receive. If you don't learn the skill of connection with God and yourself and with life, with areas of your life, with people, if you don't learn how to respect yourself and assert yourself and how to progress and how to move your life forward, if you're not that woman, forget about a marriage that is going to be satisfying and fulfilling and benefiting. Because a lot of women think, I want a man. What do you need a man for? He must look after me. Learn to look after yourself. I want a man for what? He must pay my bills. Learn to pay your own bills. Not to say that you can't have a man pay your bills, but don't be dependent on a man to pay. You must be able to pay your own bills, and then you don't have to pay your own bills, and you can have a man, you can attract and choose a man who will pay your bills, if that's what you want. You don't have to, but if that's what you want. You get what I mean? You're not just entitled. When I gave a talk in the auditorium in Durban in November, women were like, "We are entitled, men should be paying all our bills." Like, ish. We're entitled, it's all right, it's all right. I know it's your right, but you have to open up to receive. You have to choose a man who has means. You have to know what you want. You can't just choose any man who has no means and tell him he must pay for you now. You know what I mean? Because you're entitled to it. There's a responsibility before your right. Before you can exercise your right, you must accept responsibility. You know what I mean? So this is what I'm talking about here. That a lot of women say, when I have a man, I'll feel better. But you must feel happy now without a man. You know, when I have a man, I'll be happy. When I have a man, I'll be able to live my life. You must live your life now without a man. What are you thinking marriage is going to give you? Give it to yourself. And when you give it to yourself, then you can have what marriage can give you. Satisfaction of spousal preferences, needs and desires. It can support you in enjoyment, satisfaction and fulfillment. So you don't need to be married. You can want to be married. Marriage has got nothing to do with your security. Marriage has got nothing to do with your happiness. Marriage has got to do with your happiness. Marriage has got to do with your satisfaction. Alright, so we have a hand that's raised up. Let's hear.